some would say that if you do not pick for Juliana Peña, you are going to be repenting for your sins once again. The same way where she called everybody out. Peña said, "Oh, Ryan Clark, you picked for Nunes. I saw that. Don't think I didn't see that, right? Joe Rogan, you picked for Nunes. Da, 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 da." You know, she called out everybody. She had that memory, which is incredible. When you pull a massive upset like that, it's incredible. But the question is, can she do it twice? You know what I mean? Does lightning strike twice in the same place? Because Amanda Nunes, if you looked at the run that she was on prior to losing to Juliana Peña, it was pretty damn incredible, my man. So I actually want to pull it up really quickly. I'm going to pull it up on SureDog just so we could just take a look and just see some of the damage that the Lioness has done over the years, my man. So you see Amanda Nunes, 21 wins, 5 losses. Okay, that's fair. You look at her UFC record, though, it's a little bit different. 14 wins, 2 losses. Now, you lose to Juliana Peña. You get choked out. Before that, you finish Megan Anderson. You decision Felicia Spencer. Decision GDR. Finish Holly Holm. Finish Cyborg. Finish Rocky Pennington. Split decision win over Shevchenko. Finish Ronda Rousey. Finish Misha Tate. Split another decision win over Shevchenko. Finish Sarah McMahon. I mean, come on, brother. The list goes on and on and on and on. You lost to Kat Zingano back then, and that's the first test that we saw where it's like, oh, Amanda Nunes isn't a great nail. Amazing hammer. But when you're the nail, things can get a little bit rough. But look at this. Only losses are to, I mean, some legit people, except the Sarah D'Elio, right? You know, everybody else. I mean, look at these names. So my whole thing here, AJ, is that sometimes logic is not necessarily going to be the number one reason why you pick a fighter to win, right? Sometimes crazy things can happen. And we saw Juliana Peña fought Amanda Nunes' ego and then ended up gassing her out and choking her out and winning. My question is, if Amanda Nunes does everything that she did in the first round of the first fight in this fight and does not abandon the game plan come round 2, what path to victory does Juliana Peña truly have? Because she lost in the striking and the grappling in the first round. So what paths to victory does Juliana Peña have here?
Well, I think she still has to fight the ego. That's gonna be the biggest thing. Get Amanda Nunes feeling like she is back into that second round of that last fight where she's uncomfortable, she's swinging, getting arms labored, getting all that stuff. Because other than that, man, you're right. That first round, you go back and watch it. It was very not one sided, but Amanda Nunes was doing what she wanted to do. She was a lioness at that point, and then she came back. She was starting to get a little smirk going, getting a little happy, thinking, "Oh, I can play around in here. I can have a little bit of fun." Woo, then she got a little bit tired. So I think that's going to be the only way, because it's either, in my mind, it's either Juliana Peña has Amanda Nunes' number or it was an off night. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it seems like it's leading a little bit more of an off night, but don't get me wrong. Juliana Peña might just have that. No, sometimes you're playing one-on-one, you know, you're in a ring, whatever the case may be. Sometimes that guy or girl in this instance has your number and there's nothing you can do. But it doesn't really seem that way, especially coming off of that first round that we saw in the last fight. So did you see a better path to victory for Peña?
Well, it's just crazy because if you think about how did Peña truly win the fight, AJ, it was striking. She outstruck Amanda Nunes. We're talking about somebody who has 3 knockouts on her resume, right? Nunes has 13 knockouts, 10 more knockouts, right? So she lost in the grappling. Unless she can get Amanda Nunes really tired, close the distance, grapple her up, and then do some... Because if you look at the first round, she was going for Kimura attempts the whole time. She was going for Kimura attempts, and then Nunes was countering with some choke attempts, right? So she was working the grappling early on. It's not like it was completely... You're right. It wasn't completely one-sided where she was doing nothing. But then come round 2, you ditch the Kimura, and then you go straight for the rear naked choke. Boom. So my thing is you still have to attack the grappling. I think that's the path to victory, is the grappling. But can you wet blanket Amanda Nunes? Can you smother her? Can you make her truly uncomfortable on the ground? Because that's where I can see. I don't think this fight is ending in a round or 2, personally. You know what I mean? I think that Amanda Nunes is going to come in a little hesitant. I think that it would not be wise to come in and just be lioness. I'm just going to come in cyborg style and just try to knock you out right hand. Because that's what she did in the first fight and it didn't win. So let's be a little more conservative, have a more well-rounded approach. Take the approach that you took when you fought a Felicia Spencer or when you fought a GDR or something like that. Right? So I definitely think that Amanda Nunes should be the favorite here. But I have to ask you, ego-wise, Juliana Peña has to be fired up, man. She's a betting underdog. If you look at these props, they're giving her almost no chance to win this fight. As the champion, right? As the reigning, defending champion, Juliana Peña comes into this fight. Do you think, hindsight, I mean, we don't know because hindsight hasn't happened yet, but after Saturday night, are we going to be eating our words by picking Amanda Nunes, or do you think truly the same feeling everybody else had after the first fight? if they run it back, Nunes just like if they fought 10 times, Nunes wins 9 out of 10 times. Is that how you feel, or do you think that Peña really deserves to have more respect in this conversation?
No, I do think Peña deserves to have more respect in this conversation, especially because she's been putting in the work for quite a while. She's been calling out Amanda Nunes for years, saying, you're ducking me, all this stuff. So there's still that fire, man. And when you have that kind of passion and that drive, it makes a lot of sense why she's so motivated to get this fight going again, man. She's even talking shit still in the media, like you said, remembering all the people that bet against her. And it does create some sort of strife. This is the second hardest fight for me to pick, man. This one thinking back and forth the whole entire time. Like Julianna Peña can get things done, man. This fight gets to round 3, round 4, then we start worrying about the gas tank and Nunes, because I think Julianna Peña has a little bit more of a crispness to her, if you will, a little less labored in all the stuff she does. Don't get me wrong, the labor for Amanda Nunes comes because she's dropping absolute bombs on you. But then it kind of, that's where the mix-up happens. Will Julianna Peña be the fresher fighter in round 4 or round 5? We don't really know. I still think it's going to be Nunes just because of the history of what she's produced. But there's still that little bit of me that thinks Julianna Peña is a dog. And obviously the betting underdog, that fires up, that gets you a little bit going. You saying, dude, I whooped her ass in the second round. I got the fight done. I finished her. I'm one of the few to finish Amanda Nunes, and y'all still doubting me? Yeah. So I think she has a little bit more to offer in this fight coming forward than a lot of people are thinking.
I can definitely see some merit to that statement right there. But let's just also remember Amanda Nunes, right? How many title fights has she been in now? She's used to the pressure, all that good stuff. Last 5 title fights, 2 of those 5 fights have gone to decision in her favor. So when it comes to gas tank, you do have to consider, man, she's fighting out 5-round decisions. I mean, that's not a bad thing right there. So Julianna Peña, you're right. She has to fight the ego if she wants to win the fight. Does this add any sprinkle on top? Julianna Peña, clearly, she wins, right? The tough 30, right? She wins the Ultimate Fighter. She kind of, was mopping the floor with Nunes' team. I don't know how much that means because it's really just a coaching battle. It's not really like me and you getting in there doing it. But if you steal the title from Nunes, right? If you beat her on tough, embarrass her on tough, and then you defend your title, that's talk about a massive downward trajectory, right? Here's the other thing, the last thing before we talk about the actual wagering, all that good stuff about Amanda Nunes that kind of concerned me. She talked about if she wins this fight, she might just retire. She's like, yeah, I'll just see where my head's at after. That's not what you want to hear from somebody who's supposed to have that fire, that flame to be like, I need that title back, right?
Yo, 100%, Derek. That is definitely a pause for concern. And coming from a coach, man, I'll talk about the tough part a little bit. That's almost more upsetting. You know what I'm saying? Because with your athletes, there's a bunch of X's and O's that can happen. There's a bunch of outcomes that can happen, but you smack up every single one of them. It kind of comes back to the coach, kind of comes back to me, kind of comes back to a fact of maybe you might have that number. And I think the biggest thing that kind of scares me in this whole situation for picking Amanda Nunes, like you said, she lost her belt. Then she gets smacked up on tough. Going into the third fight, what if that feeling of, and I'm sure you've been there too, Derek, where you're playing, you're fighting, you're doing whatever the case may be, you get that feeling of, oh shit, I've been here before. Oh shit, we're back to this again. And then you start getting in your mental, then you start going. And especially where they're thinking, well, I'm probably going to retire anyway after this. It's a little shaky. So I do think it's going to be a very, very fun fight, but there's stuff that can be going back and forth right here.
Yeah, no, you're right, brother. And it's funny because we could talk about this forever, but we gotta wrap this one up, man. It just comes down to the ego. I think that's really the number one battle. Like Amanda Nunes needs to fight with her ego because she's already said, I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish in the fight game. I've already been the double champ. What's your why? You don't really have a why if you're like, oh, I'll just retire after, right? So the why has to be ego. I'm about to fucking whoop some ass, man. I can't get disrespected like this. I can't go out on a loss, right? So Julianna Peña needs to fight against Amanda Nunes' ego, but Nunes needs to fight with the ego. It feels counterintuitive, but let's talk props, brother. So clearly, Nunes minus 300 favorite, plus 250 comeback for the champion, Julianna Peña. Now, when we're talking about methods of victory, the most likely, according to the oddsmaker, method of victory for Amanda Nunes is a TKO victory at plus 140. However, for Julianna Peña, it's plus 450 with a submission. So just looking at those ones, right, given that the odds makers are seeing it that way, either Nunes knocks her out or Peña submits her. If it goes down to a decision, why do you think that Peña is plus 550 for the decision? Because I think that might be one of the smarter props. We might not see a finish in this fight, man. So what do you think?
No, I agree with you. That's where I was thinking. We might not see a finish in this one just because of how well these fighters know each other, how much is on the line, all that stuff. It is curious. I mean, maybe it's because Amanda Nunes has fought so many 5-round fights,
Yeah.
and I know Peña has been scheduled for a 5, but I don't actually know if she's been all the way to 4 and 5 in the rounds. I'm doing a quick look, man. It seems she's only gotten to 3, so I think that might be it. That the odds makers thinking that she can only, she's only ever gotten to 3.
Yeah.
Those last 4 and 5, they make a massive difference.
Championship rounds, brother. They call them championship rounds for a reason. And if you've been a champion for a long, long time, you're normally favored in those rounds. So it makes sense. But what are you rocking with, right? I don't really see Amanda Nunes submitting Julianna Peña, even though she is a black belt, right? She has legit jiu-jitsu chops. Decisioning Peña, I can definitely see that in the method of outcomes. I just think that Julianna Peña proved in her last fight that she could handle the bombs of Amanda Nunes, which is probably when you don't let the bully you anymore. When you bully the bully, they fall apart, right? So if Amanda Nunes is like, all right, I'm going to be more conservative, I just see her approach coming in saying, I want the victory more than I want a highlight finish. So if I have to decision her, I'll finish her, but I'm getting my belt back. With that being said, would you rather take the plus 325 decision prop, or would you rock with the minus 300 money line, or is that a little too skewed, you know what I mean, and as a favorite for Nunes? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm rocking with that plus 325 decision line personally, man. That minus 300, don't get me wrong. I see why the odds makers have it there. Just a little, like you said, too skewed for me. So I'm rocking that decision. I do think the Lioness will come down to, and it's one of those ones where she throws big bombs and Julianna Peña just like headbutt in the hands, or, just eating them on the chin. There's nothing, no glimmer of stress at all on her. Then I think Amanda Nunes is gonna be like, all right, let's get this fight to the deep waters. Let's go, bloody some people up, and actually make this one a long drawn out contest. And that's really where I see this one finishing.
Yeah, no. And so the over and under is 2.5 rounds, brother. So you'll take the over on that one. And I'm not going to lie to you, even though I really can't see a decision prop here at play, this is a competition still, man. We're already a wash for the money line pick. So I think I'm going to have to spice it up and I'm going to have to take a chance. And I think that I'm going to take that plus 140 TKO. But I'm gonna take it for the later rounds. I think that we're seeing like a round 4 TKO right here, brother. I think that you can get that war of attrition going, and Nunes, she does have the power advantage. Let's not forget that, right? So I do think that she'll inevitably be able to kind of get her in a tough spot, finish this fight out, whether it's just a massive right hand that drops her or it's a ground and pound TKO type submission or type situation, excuse me. But I'm taking the over on this one, but I'm gonna rock with the TKO for Amanda the Lioness Nunes and new. But just remember, and I have to say this on stream right now, if Julianna Peña wins, we're gonna be eating our words. We're gonna be eating the most crow that I think we've eaten on the history of this program, because she's not gonna let anyone live that one down. So all respect to the current champion, but you have to respect the history of the current featherweight champion and former bantamweight champion, former double champ, former GOAT, still GOAT, but you know what I'm saying. All right.